Good morning and happy Tuesday. You just have me again this week. Chloe is doing some fabulous things in her business. So it's just me for a chat today on conversations from the gap. So yesterday on Instagram, I put up those little question box things and asked what topics to talk about. So I had one response. Thank you for that, Lisa. Lisa Watson. You can find her on Instagram, and it's Lissa Watson. She has beautiful photos. She sells prints. She's gorgeous. Anyway, her response to the little question box was middle age, weight gain, menopause, finding time for ourselves and our creativity. So I am obviously not a doctor. So I won't speak on medical things. But middle age, weight gain, and menopause, I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely noticing changes in my body, in my mood, my tolerance, and I'm very much listening to that, being aware of it, and I'm really going back to basics in what I consume. Since I've come off shift work, I've very much cut down caffeine. Like I'll still have a coffee, but I'm not drinking the ridiculous amounts that I was drinking on shift work. Really, I'm actually, instead of taking things out of my diet, I'm adding things in. So creating really nutrient-dense food, meals. And I'm actually really loving that. I've never dieted or I've never done anything like that. I've always just eaten. And so I have definitely noticed my body changing shape at this age, and being aware of not only what I consume, in my nutrition, looking at my phone as much. So I don't look at my phone an hour after I get out of bed. I don't look at my phone an hour before I go to bed. I very much either unfollowed or muted a lot of things on my social media. I used to read a lot on my phone, but I've actually gone back to reading paperbacks just so I'm not in that blue light all the time. Yeah, I've just made this really, and maybe it is because I've come off shift work, and I'm just a little bit more conscious of the choices that I'm making, but I very much am spending time in just what do I love, what movement am I enjoying. So I've always done yoga, so I'm doing yoga, somatic exercise. I'm out in the yard a lot, like in our yard where our garden is. I've always walked barefoot in our yard, so just shifting that energy and moving things around, moving, when I say things, emotions around, just by getting it out through. For me, journaling and photography has always been very healing, very brings me back to the moment, gets me into my body, out of my head, and that is something that I'm concentrating on a lot more as well, getting more into my body and out of my head, because I can very easily get caught up in my head. So I've also started going and seeing an acupuncturist once a week. Well, I was seeing him once a week, and now it's to once a fortnight, which has really helped just kind of calm my nervous system down from coming off shift work. I've been very much kind of spending a lot more time just de-stressing and being aware and just taking notice, slowing down. Yeah, it's definitely a process. But personally for me, I've just taken it back to basics of nutrition. What am I putting into my body in every way with the phones and the information, and very much coming back to trusting myself in the decisions that I make around saying yes and no to things that I don't want to do, that I would usually say yes to, that I would stress about for a couple of days. And then, just being very, putting myself first. Let's say that. And the second part of the question in relation to creativity and finding time for yourself, I suppose that all weaves into what I've just been talking about. Like I said, for me, creativity, photography, writing has always been a very, it's very healing for me. It brings me back into my body. It brings me into the moment. So writing for me, I feel, is very expansive. It gives me the opportunity, I feel, just to like cleanse. Like I can just get it all out. Usually I try and write on a piece of paper or like in a journal or a book. So I have A3 sized sketchbooks and they've got no lines. They are huge and it gives me so much space just to pour out what needs to come out. The same with writing on the computer. For me, as a trained typist, if I'm really needing to cleanse or get things out or process, I always just go straight for the computer and let my fingers just fly across the keyboard and just get everything out. And I feel like, for me, I feel so much lighter, so much freer. Yeah, that is an important thing for me, is the writing. And especially just to process things and to get clarity on things. And when I go back, I don't generally really go back and read a lot of things that I've written. And sometimes when I do write, especially on the computer, like I will write and write and write, and it could be pages and pages long. And I don't feel like I need to read it or go through it again. I just delete it. There are some things that I do keep, but when it's just a full-on processing session for me, I don't need to read it again, so I just delete it. And with the photography, that's a completely different thing for me. It very much brings me into the right now. It allows me to focus just on one thing. So if life is feeling really big for me, really there's a lot going on or quite stressy, and I do reach for my camera, it very much grounds me in the moment. I've only got that one lens to look through, so it very much brings me to that moment, to that frame, and it kind of feels almost like a bit of a cuddle of like, this is where I am, this is what I'm doing right now. And yeah, it's that for me, knowing what each thing gives to me. It's very, I don't know, I suppose it's very helpful, especially as the question said, menopause, finding time for yourself, which for me it's a beautiful thing to have those options. And there's a page in my book that says, you are the most important person in your life. So coming back to the question of, finding time for yourself, finding time for your creativity, like I was just explaining, for me, writing and photography is processing. It is, and it isn't always. Sometimes I'll do a project and it's got nothing to do with what's happening in my life, but it is definitely something that I draw on when I need to. And so with that, with your creativity or with finding time for yourself, what does that mean to you? How do you process things? How do you want to move emotion, or how do you want to move that feeling through your body? How do you want to spend your time on your own or in your creativity? And it's looking at what creativity means to you. Is it healing? Is it art? Is it processing? Is it understanding life better? Is it proof of life? It comes back to what is it to you? How does it make you feel? What do you want to get out of it? What's the point of creativity to you? And also remember, as women, we are the ultimate creators. So we create life, we create homes, we create relationships, marriages, motherhood, meals, events, we create art, we create photos, we create writing. When we're thinking of creativity, does it just mean creating a painting, creating a photo, creating ceramics, creating a piece of writing to you? And if so, can you expand it into when you're cooking the meal at night, or when you're, choosing things for your home? Can you look at how you're creating your home? How are you creating the nightly meal? How are you creating the relationships in your life? All of it is light and shadow. And I feel we have very much forgotten that we are these incredible, wholly creative beings. And so we've kind of pigeonholed creativity into only thinking of it as art. Like when people say, oh, I don't have a creative bone in my body. No, you do. You have all of the creative bones in your body. Every day you're creating. You've created the outfit that you're wearing. You've created the breakfast that you ate. You've created conversation with people. And all of our life experiences, all of our emotion, our subconscious, our conscious, that is all creating every choice that we make, that creates our life. And so with that question of having time for yourself and your creativity, how do you define time for yourself? Like what do you want that to look like? How do you want the time for yourself to look like? Do you want to be able to sit and write? Do you want to be able to go and spend 5 hours, just exploring and immersing yourself in taking photos? Do you want to create a painting? Do you want to make a meal? What does it personally look like for you? And how does it feel? Like how does it make you feel? What do you want to experience in that time for yourself? Does time for yourself mean you want to go and meet a girlfriend for lunch? or have coffee with an acquaintance? Does the time for yourself just mean purely having a nap, sitting in your yard? It's about knowing what you want to experience, how you want that experience to feel, because having time for ourselves and having time for our creativity, we also have to create that. It's not just going to pop up out of nowhere. We have to create that time. We have to create that experience of, organizing to go out with a girlfriend, organizing to go and spend 5 hours immersing yourself in your photography. We're also creating, it's self-care. That is self-care, and it comes back to filling our cups and letting the overflow reach out and touch all the people that are important around us, and being the example of creating this beautiful life and experience for ourselves and letting others witness that and taking care of ourselves. It's all intertwined into everything. Like, everything is connected. Our menopause and our midlife and our creativity and our time on our own, it's all connected. It's all important. It's all self-care. It's all meaning coming back and looking at ourselves. We've become very disconnected from our cycles and our flow. As women, we are in cycle and we are in flow every day. It's part of our being. And it's the same with our creativity. It's a cycle and it's a flow. Like, there will be times when it's highly productive and you feel like you are just so, in flow with what you're wanting to create, and all the ideas are coming and all this amazing work is just coming out of you in the most beautiful way. And then we get really down on ourselves when it feels like it all just dries up. And we don't take notice of our cycles. We don't be grateful for that time of rest and that recuperation, and for the magic to be happening on the inside in the universe. It always feels like we need to be go, go, go. Where actually women are, like I said, we're in cycle. So there will be time. There is no creativity happening. And that's when it comes back to knowing what our creativity means to us, how we define it. It comes back to how we define our version, very personally, our version of success. Very personally, how do we want to create our lives, to create our art, to create business, to create, our own health? It's all our choice. No one's going to do it for us. And that's a very powerful, amazing, beautiful place to be when we understand that we get to choose. Like, we get to choose what we consume. We get to choose how we move our bodies. We get to choose how we create time for us. We get to choose how creative we are. And we're always creative. It doesn't matter. Every day we're creative. Every day we're doing something that is creative. And it's just recognizing what we are creating in our life. And yeah, it's really hard when there's families and kids and jobs and needing to make money and all of this outside stuff, I suppose. But again, it's a choice. Even if creativity means to you purely taking photos, then create a time every day where you get to set a goal for yourself. I don't know, 10 photos, 5 photos. It's about us creating for us. Because when we're healthy, when we understand our own cycles, our own flow, then we can move and shift and understand when things are fabulous and they are working and they are flowing just out of us amazingly. But when we also have the knowledge of how our cycles work, we'll be grateful for the time of rest, for that time of recuperation, for that time of grounding. And maybe it's a time of exploring. Maybe that's the time where you do spend time for yourself, nourishing yourself. And it doesn't have to be this full-on creative production all the time. And it is definitely, I've, for myself, found it's this slowing down. And that's why I've muted or unfollowed a lot of people on social media, because it feels so fast, so loud, so in your face. And you can't hear yourself think. You can't feel yourself feel. So for me, it's definitely been a time of very much taking notice of me and what my body needs, what my mental health, emotional health, spiritual health needs at this time. And it has been, I'm always talking about clarity and knowing your why, and your art, your life, your business is how you create it. And that can feel very expensive. It can feel very scary. It can feel like too much choice. But again, it comes back to how well we know ourselves and how well we, process things in our creativity. Or don't process things. Understand that it's there, acknowledge it, and move forward. Everything is up to us. It's all of our choice. And when I say all of our choice, like personal choice. And it's women are so incredible. They have so much wisdom. They have so much knowledge. But we've got so busy. We put everybody first. We are constantly in this race of just trying to get everything done all the time, that we have forgotten how to track our cycles, know where we are, know what we want, know what's important to us, know what our creativity means to us. And, there's so many excuses that we could use. There's so many things that we can put in our own way. There's so many boundaries, but it's such a great question that Lisa asked. What about our middle age? What about our menopause? What about our, weight gain and our creativity and time for me? It's all so feminine and so important. And this middle age, this perimenopause, menopause time, personally, this has probably been the time that I have paid attention to myself the most and really been in my body and understood what I'm consuming and why I'm consuming it. And it's definitely been like culling. It's definitely been adding in more beautiful, nutritious, just everything. And when I'm sort of pausing there because I'm like, it's not just food, it's people, it's books, it's experiences, it's conversations and being outside in nature and saying yes to things that I might usually say no to. It's this exploration of who I am and who do I want to be moving forward and what's important to me as I move forward into this next stage of my life. Like I'll always be a mum, I'll always be a wife, friend, sister, daughter, all of the labels. But also, who am I when I spend time with myself? What do I do? What do I enjoy? What does that create? What does that time on my own? How do I create from that? I know that's 30 minutes. I can't believe that's 30 minutes. I know that was maybe a bit off topic to what Chloe and I usually talk about, but I really do love that question because it brings so much awareness to us as women and what is important. We have one life. It's finite. We're not here forever. We can drop off at any time. And I'm grateful to be here at this age, to be healthy, to be able to move the way I do, to have the opportunities that I do. And I want to make the most of that. So making the most of that means knowing, and that means asking myself questions. It means being uncomfortable. It means trying new things because I might love it. And that's exciting. And yeah, I mean, I could keep going, but that's 30 minutes. So I am going to wrap it up. And I really do. I hope that you got something out of it. I hope that this helped. Obviously, I am in no way at all a doctor or health professional on anything to do with menopause or weight gain or middle age, anything. That is purely my experience. I'm healthy. I'm doing what's right for me in movement and what I'm consuming, and very much taking care of sort of my emotional and mental health at the moment. But obviously I'm not a doctor. If anyone needs further actual help, please go and see someone professionally. But yeah, all right, I'm going to leave it there because I could keep talking about it because I'm very passionate about this topics, those few topics that we did talk about. But just be kind to yourself. It's one step at a time. It's a miracle that we're here at this time in this life. And I'm very grateful for everyone that may listen to this. And I hope you got something out of it. All right, I will talk to you next week. Okay, see ya. Bye.